The Atlanta real estate market is changing, and this change is going to be huge. Whether you're planning to visit, invest, or make a move, here is your Atlanta real estate market update. And stick around because we're going to show you who's going to benefit the most from these changes.
Yeah, you might be surprised.
I'm Allison.
I'm Jennifer, and we're realtor moms living in the North Atlanta suburbs. Each week we make videos to show you the insider's view of what it's like to live here. So whether you're considering a move or just curious, we're here to help. Call us, text us, or better yet, book a consultation using the link below, and we will find your dream home together.
As we enter 2025, the Atlanta housing market continued to show its resilience and dynamic nature. When we mention the Atlanta housing market, we're including Metro Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, and the northern suburbs across housing in all categories. This year, we've really observed a consistent demand for homes, and of course, that's driven by Atlanta's strong job market and its appeal as a cultural and economic hub.
Yeah, I mean, home prices have experienced a moderate increase compared to last year, with the median home price as of the end of February now sitting at about $415,000. And so we talk a lot about the northern suburbs as well on our channel. We'll mention that the median sales price in that area is $570,000.
So what exactly do we think these numbers mean? All right, so for some perspective, 2024 ended with a median sales price of $419,000. But looking at January in 2025, we actually saw a decline to about $405,000. And then in February, prices were trending back up to $415,000. So this trend kind of gives you a sense when you consider sort of the political and economic climate of 2024 and even into 2025, and also real estate seasonality, which has really just come back the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, buyers and sellers traditionally kind of sit on the sidelines in the winter months and really start to pick up the pace during the first quarter of the year in anticipation of the spring market, where buyers have more options and sellers get more money for their homes.
Yeah, it's really kind of a win-win for both parties. So in 2024, the North Atlanta suburbs wrapped up with homes selling at a median price of about $586,000. By January 2025, this went up to $608,000. And then in February, it dropped again to $570,000. So this was a great time to buy, which you cannot really predict. And this trend was the opposite of what we saw in the broader Atlanta market.
Yeah, so and we expect these prices to keep going up as we head into the spring market. Really shows the importance of looking at the specific local market.
For sure.
And not looking at nationally for sure, and even not even different cities. So you need to look in your specific local markets when buying a house.
Yeah, be very careful of those headlines because they're misleading.
Yeah, if you want to know what's happening in a particular spot, just ask, and we can get the details down to a school district or even a neighborhood.
And inventory levels have shown a slight improvement, which is great news for buyers. So this is going to offer more options for buyers. But listen, the market remains competitive, especially in the highly sought after areas such as Midtown, Buckhead, East Atlanta, and the strongest demand, which is of course the North Atlanta suburb.
Yeah, I mean, homes are still selling quickly with the average days on market for February hovering around 30 days. And that's slightly down from 35 days in January. And then the North Atlanta suburbs days on market decreased from 25 days in January to 18 days in February.
The importance of looking at the days on market is really going to show you a trend for buyer demand in the market. It also helps us determine the best strategy for buyers given their budget and their housing needs.
So kind of why this is important is that, number one, homes going under contract within 7 days are going to be competitive. They're selling at or above listing price nearly 100% of the time. And these homes typically have the most attractive characteristics for the majority of buyers. There are specific and aggressive factors needed to win a home that falls into this category. Although the good news for buyers is that it's not going to be to the degree that we saw in previous years.
That's right.
And then number two, homes sitting on the market for at least 30 days are only receiving 94% of their original asking price. So although these homes have been passed on by a majority of the home buyers, okay, let's be honest, there's opportunity here if you know what to look for. I mean, really, just kind of think of it looking for a needle in a haystack. So those are two different strategies to use when you're looking at homes in this particular market right now.
That's right. And it's interesting because all of this is happening with consumer confidence levels sort of nationally falling across all population segments, and expectations at this point for personal finances, jobs, inflation, financial markets are sort of declining, according to the University of Michigan's earlier March survey of consumers. We'll go ahead and link that in the description so you can check that out. So as I mentioned earlier, there's several key factors factors that are driving the current real estate market here in Atlanta. The city's strong economy, bolstered by the presence of major corporations and a booming tech industry, which is continuing to grow and attract new residents. The influx of this talent really adds to the demand for housing and is keeping the market energized.
Sure. So in 2024, Georgia ranked as the 5th state in the U.S. for incoming residents, achieving a net gain of almost 62,000 people. And we're going to dive into this just a little bit deeper.
All right, so touching upon the inventory levels. So what we mean by that is how many homes are available on the market. The greater Atlanta area is up just over 7% year over year and has nearly doubled since the end of December from 4,600 to 7,400.
I mean, let's pause on that for just a second because that's huge. To double inventory is huge and we need it badly. It's still not enough, but that's a really short time frame to see such a big gain. And we expect it to kind of keep going, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And listen, we haven't even hit the spring market yet, when historically the most inventory is going to hit the market. So more inventory tends to mean more power in the buyer's hands.
Yep. And interest rates, they're kind of uncertain now, although stabilizing. Jerome Powell said that the Fed plans to take 2 more rate cuts this year. We'll see. We just came from the last meeting and he did not raise anything. So it's a kind of a wait and see game.
Right now, guys, there's just concerns about a weak job market and slow growth that are influencing these rate cut talks. Mortgage rates haven't really moved much, as you just said, and the bond market trends are actually the better indicator. Bond yields are rising due to economic growth and Fed policies. So with the Fed holding rates steady, mortgage rates aren't expected to change much this year at all. And buyers are frankly just accepting that.
Yeah, they kind of are. It is what it is type of approach. Another factor contributing to what's going on in the market is the migration and population growth in Atlanta. The population of the 21 county Atlanta region will reach almost 8 million by 2050. And that's an increase of almost 2 million over what the prediction was back in 2020. 2 million more people are coming to the Atlanta area than we expected only just 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I think when you think about it, we did see these trends in migration after the pandemic. So with the census numbers being from 2020, that was really reflective, I think, of the data that they gathered the year before. So this makes a lot of sense.
By the way, Atlanta is the 3rd fastest growing city behind Houston and Dallas-Fort Worth.
So the reason for this is I think buyers are understanding that there are lower taxes and a more affordable cost of living overall in the state of Georgia when you compare places like California and New York. The economic growth from the jobs moving in for tech and for financial and healthcare fields are the biggest portion of these people moving here.
Yeah, and additionally, another factor that's affecting the market here in Atlanta are the infrastructure projects, such as the expansion of public transit, improvements to roadways. They're enhancing connectivity all across the region. The future expansion of Georgia 400 toll lanes, which I think they just put on hold. I hope not for long because we really need that. But the overhaul of where they put 285 in Georgia 400 and revamped that made a huge improvement. And those are just a couple of examples. I mean, the development makes the suburban areas more accessible, inviting both new homeowners and investors.
That's right. So speaking of investment opportunities, the investment market in Atlanta, really remains favorable because of the affordability, the economic growth, and the migration patterns that we just talked about. Because of Atlanta's relative affordability, the return on investment is pretty strong here, with the demand for rentals high and vacancy rates low.
Georgia is also known for being a landlord-friendly state, which helps investors when it comes to kind of regulations and the eviction process. Atlanta is also a top 10 city to invest in when it comes to commercial property as well. Just fun fact there. But we should also mention that the legislation that's going to be talked about here, called Bill 305, Protect the American Dream, and that would limit corporations to 25 properties per county in Georgia. I mean, as you can imagine, that bill's kind of controversial.
So we'll have to stay tuned for that. As you can imagine, this is a controversial bill. All right, so looking ahead, what can we expect for the remainder of the year in 2025? Here are some predictions based on current trends and expert insights.
Okay, prediction 1, home prices, we anticipate a steady but moderate appreciation in home prices. It's going to be more sustainable rate than in previous years, and it's really just due to increased inventory and slightly tempered demand. Experts agree, I think 2 to 3% growth in 2025 is likely, but the volume of home sales could see as much as 5 to 10% increase. and we'll start moving toward a more balanced market.
Oh, that would be so nice. Going back to what we said earlier, if you're looking in places like Johns Creek or East Cobb, this kind of doesn't apply, right? There's still high demand, very little inventory. Again, very market specific. So talking again about the interest rates, as we mentioned, they're expected to remain relatively stable unless we experience some type of black swan event. This stability will continue to encourage first-time home buyers and those looking to upgrade. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and then the other thing that we're predicting in 2025 is new construction, more of a boom, continuing to make new construction in different areas that haven't been there. And actually, maybe some builder incentives as well. Developers are likely to focus on mixed-use projects and affordable housing to meet the diverse needs of Atlanta's population. And I think that we're going to expect to see like new developments emerging in neighborhoods with walkability as a key feature.
Yeah, and I think, with the concern of tariffs potentially increasing the cost for builders, it could be an opportunity for buyers to have a little bit more negotiation range with some of the homes that have already been built or in the process of being built.
Yeah, you'll have to check out our new construction video coming up, because we talk a lot about how to get incentives with builders right now. And even just 2 years ago, that was completely unheard of.
All right, so moving away from Metro Atlanta a little bit, we're going to talk about suburban growth. So as remote work remains prevalent, suburban areas will continue to grow in popularity. Most of our buyers, I would say, work from home, at least part-time. So these buyers are seeking larger homes and more space, and just will, continue to drive the demand in these areas.
And then I think we're going to see more sustainability in the market in 2025 as an increased focus on like sustainability and energy efficient homes, with a focus on things like solar panels to become more popular. We're already seeing more of those. Just people being more conscious of the environment, what the buyers are looking for in terms of environmentally friendly components to homes. So who's going to benefit in the 2025 housing market? The short answer is that as we start to move to a more balanced market, there's opportunities for both buyers and sellers, and winning is going to come down to the strategy that you employ to reach the ultimate goal that you have.
The Atlanta housing market in 2025 is ready to keep booming. So whether you're buying, selling, investing, staying in the know, and being flexible is really the way to go into this ever-changing scene. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that bell for more fun updates.
So for any questions or personalized information, please reach out to us. Our information is on the screen below, or better yet, make that appointment, drop a comment, and let us know what you think about our 2025 predictions. Do you agree?